Good morning, honey.
Um,
How was your night?
it was not the best. Um, I kind of got off track.
We on vacation.
Yeah,
You had a tendency, because I got some stories too. I'll tell mine later. Your
yeah.
turn.
Well, my thing has to do with acid reflux, and I was a little bullheaded and decided I was going to do things the way I wanted to do, and my body said,
Tells you every
no,
time.
this is the price you're gonna pay. So
What? How much did your body charge you last night?
He charged me full price plus interest, at least 50%. So it was horrible. So anyway, but I got some things to say about it.
All right, let's watch the show. So, what happened? This is day 4 for us on the ship, and for me, there's been a battle. There's a battle back and forth between what I used to do and what we do now. I've strictly pretty much carnivore with the meat. We've kind of showed you guys. But I have had Chardonnay and I have had decaf coffee. No sugar or anything like that. And I've had them to use heavy cream. It look like it's coming out the cow. It's so thick. So those have been mine. I have not really had any issues from it. What's your story?
Well, I did sip on some of her Chardonnay, which I hate. I don't know why I did it, right? And so wine is made from grapes, right? It's sweet. And
Okay, but that Chardonnay, you keep saying that.
well, because it's sour, it doesn't mean anything. It's still a grape. I mean, sugar is sugar, whether it's sweet sugar or sour sugar, it's sugar. And fructose, I should say. And so I kind of got a reaction from it, and it kind of irritated me that I got a reaction because I actually got it from something I don't even like. It doesn't even make sense, right? But that's not the real story here. The real story comes from last night, acid reflux. Let me back up for a second, because we talked about this. I talked about this in a previous episode where I kind of gave a brief background or history on how or what was happening with me in terms of acid reflux. And I learned through some of the doctors that you should not you should not drink at least 2 hours before your meal and 2 hours after your meal. Reason being...
Okay, pause right there. But because you are a guzzler, he loves to drink. He right now the primary is water, but that's the one thing that I say in regards to you that that's your weakness.
Eating and drinking is my thing. She's always been the person who's gonna eat her food first before she drinks anything. That's not me. I drink before I eat. I guzzle, and I guzzle while I'm eating, and I guzzle after I'm done eating. So drink. It ain't my game. But anyway, so the goal is 2 hours prior to, no drinking, eating. 2 hours prior to eating, no drinking. 2 hours after eating, no drinking.
Okay.
What this does.
Wait a minute. But what's your time frame?
Wait a minute. Now, what this is supposed to do is allows your stomach acid, right? You want your pH to be 1.2 in that range, right? And if you drink water, you're gonna dilute it, and it's gonna raise the pH acid maybe 3 and 4. Now, what that really does is it reduces the acidity in your stomach, and reduces the capacity of being able to break down food expeditiously. And I think, and that translates into, okay, now it takes longer to digest your food. It takes longer for the stomach to break it down, right? And me being the guzzler that I am, and I had said I was going to do this anyway when I got on a cruise, right? And my biggest thing has not been, I don't think it's being if I eat breakfast, do it then, or if I eat lunch. The issue becomes later in the day when you're approaching nightfall and it's time to go to bed. So you want to make sure, I wanted to make sure I allow my body ample time to digest my food, right? So for some reason yesterday, I mean, I think the picture here shows the food that I ate. I had the steak and the pork and excuse me, and three hamburgers.
Oh, yesterday's plate.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I thought
3
you meant
hamburgers.
today's plate.
Hot dogs, right? So I had all that on my plate, and then I had a young lady bring me. Actually, I had about six glasses of water, really. 2 with ice. Start out with 4, 2 with ice, 2 without, and I just sat there and drank. I ate and I drank. I ate and I drank. And this is during the meal, right? And then following the meal, I continued to eat and drink. Well, okay, now it's time to go to bed. And being here in Alaska, it's daylight until 10 or 11 at night, and I got in bed. And one more thing before I say this, at home, I think if you recall, my wife talked about we have a sleep number bed, so I have the capability of elevating my head, right? So the objective is when you eat, the food goes down into your stomach, is digested, and everything is gravity fed, right? So it's a vertical position, no problem. But if you don't allow that food ample time to digest, and then when I'm horizontal, right, and I don't elevate my head, which I didn't do in this bed, of course. I could have with the pillows, but I didn't. I went horizontal. I kid you not. I went horizontal and I fell asleep. And I jumped up, I think around 11 a.m. 11 p.m. I jumped up and wait a minute.
Gasping
I was gasping for air. And because when I went horizontal, gravity no longer was a factor in pushing that food down. And because I drank so much water, I think that my body was still going through the process of trying to digest it, right? Still trying to crunch it up and extract the nutrients from it, and it came back up through my esophagus and it burned really bad. Now what you might say, if you remember growing up, you learn that you take Pepto-Bismol, you take Pepsid AC and some of those other anti-acid. That's not what you want to do, right? You don't want to disturb your acid. You want that acid there, right? But the problem is the acid was burning my throat. So what I did is I took a little sip of water. I did do this. I took a little sip of water and I was trying to soothe my throat, right? Trying to soothe my esophagus. And then I just laid down and elevated myself in the bed, right? And it eventually calmed itself in my throat. The burning stopped, sensation stopped, and I was able to go on to sleep. So from here on out, I gotten a little too comfortable with it, and I still think I could have gotten away with it had I elevated myself, but I didn't. But the practice going forward, I'm just going to continue to allow myself at least an hour prior to eating, allow myself an hour without drinking, and then up to an hour afterwards, and then I'll start drinking. Hopefully that'll be long enough for me to allow my stomach acids to do what it needs to do. So hey, that's part of being a carnivore, eating straight meat, but this is a learning process, right? It's a learning process, and what may affect me may not affect you, right? I know my wife and I have different reactions to different things. We talked about the Chardonnay. She can drink it, right? But any type of sweetness will impact me in inflammation. It doesn't do her. So, and it may not do you. So you have to find out what your triggers are, and
like mine is barbecue sauce.
Yeah, right.
You cannot. I don't care. I just no longer. No, that was 2 days of pain afterwards.
Right.
And so no, but I would. You know how sometimes your partner don't want you to tell them what to do. That doesn't happen here. But sometimes it can.
Water.
Sometimes it can happen. And so I saw the water and I was like, dude, just leave me alone. I'm okay.
Yeah, I was thirsty, y'all.
But that's just it. It's
Salt
like,
and meat, I was thirsty. And see, I'm thirsty, I'm telling you.
that needs, yeah, that, but then you see what the price of it is, and you're trying to, nope, I'm gonna save that for a whole nother video of the different things that we try to do. But what did you have this morning for breakfast? Well, if you don't know, it's going across the screen right now.
The only thing different is what she's getting at, right? I did
So
my
you-
3 eggs and my pound of bacon, right? And I put 2 little small pieces of watermelon slices on my plate. I put them on there this morning. You know, I said.
But there's a reason behind it.
The reason behind it was that Chardonnay. I was not going to fall victim and be in pain because of something I didn't like. So if I'm gonna be in pain, it was something I like, right? So I ate me a couple of bites of watermelon this morning.
Was that worth it? How was it?
I mean, the watermelon was good. I mean, I do miss it, but you know, that was all I had. I mean, I had 2 small slices. Normally on cruises like this, I had a separate plate for fruit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, watermelon, cantaloupe, honeydew melon, you name it, whatever grapes, whatever they had. I had a plate dedicated just for that. I didn't have that. I only had 2 small slices of watermelon.
Well, I can say this. All right, we're carnivores on the ship,
Yeah.
and it can be done. I think enough time had gone by before we got on the ship where sugar is just not like that high thing for us. But there are certain foods that, okay, you kind of miss, you know, you do. You're in a social setting, you might want to have a glass of wine. And so, you know, that is where you turn around and say, no, I'll have club soda. Or you can bring yourself some food coloring and drop down in your water with some ice, and it looks like you have a mixed drink. There are different things that you can do to blend in, or you can go ahead and have a glass of Chardonnay, G. And I love his description of the grapes is great, because in my mind I'm trying to say it is not that sweet when you taste it. Justification, that's gonna be the thing. Justification, because we try to justify why we're making those odd decisions. I ain't gonna say wrong decision, just, you know, a little sideline decision, whether it, like, he justified with the watermelon because of what he ate the day before, and it's like, if I'm gonna be in pain, then we gonna slip this watermelon in real quick, so it's just one pain. We all do it. And for me, it was, I wanted some coffee. And now I'm a cream and sugar. No, actually I'm a Bailey's. You put some Bailey's over in it. I want 50-50, 50% coffee, 50% Bailey's. But I didn't do that. I did the heavy cream. And there you go. So,
all right, so we just want to share that with you guys as we continue our
Carnivores on a cruise.
And you can see right now we're in the Diamond Lounge here on the Ovation of the Seas, and we thought we'd take the time out and just share this with you. So